Well, I'm back. We went through all the sets, but we didn't get through all the yearlings. Obviously, there were some scratches yesterday. I still have the old list. I tried to work everybody into it. So I think I have everybody roughly in alphabetical order. If you're looking for a horse and I've missed him, he may be very close to where he should be. What a horrible day here it is today. Obviously, I've said it 6 times. It's my birthday today. Kids are pumped. And we're going out for supper tonight with James and a couple of people that work with us and friends of mine. And I want to get through our videos. I want to do our videos for today. I don't want to miss. So let's get right to it. We're going to run through the yearlings a little quicker than we did in the past, obviously, because I mentioned almost all of them in depth, what I thought of them, how they did in the workouts from yesterday. We'll start with Adrenaline Rush. His weakness right now is he's a little bit lazy. I know that puts some flags up for a lot of people. I wouldn't worry too much about it. If we're having the same conversation in March, then yeah, I would put the flags up. But he was just freshly castrated last week. I think Adrenaline Rush will come around. Really just got to put a little spark into him and get him moving. Barbie's Crown looked great yesterday. That was the first time I've seen her train in a training set, I guess. None of these horses went a full mile, probably better than 3 minutes. Some of them went good last halves, maybe a little more than a half, but nobody went a full mile. I know a lot of people out there saying, well, geez, how much did you go? We're not going to go through that again this year, where everybody asks me how much we go, and I tell you I'm not telling you because I'm not telling you. I don't put a focus on time. We put a focus on comfort with the horses. So I'm going to take a look at how everybody looked yesterday and rejig that the way we train next Saturday. Now, there won't be a drone next Saturday, but these horses will be in their proper areas next Saturday and how I want to see them behave. So, Barbie's Crown, very, very good yesterday. I was happy with her. Now, see, I put her ahead of Argento. What am I doing? Argento was very good yesterday also. Made a little shoeing change with him. He showed a little head nod there 2 weeks ago. Probably, he was due to be shot. It could have been a million things. A lot of these babies go out playing around and jump on their foot, can bruise their foot. We switched him to a set of flip-flops, and he was fine yesterday. Looked great. Jason said he was bomb-proof. Exactly what we want to hear. Beef and Cheddar. You could tell how green he was yesterday. You saw it on the video. He was bouncing around, weaving in and out, and then took off and then pulled up at the end, just being stupid. But he is on the straight and narrow. He'll be castrated this week. Also, old Beefy bit the groom yesterday. Bad news, Beefy. Don't be biting the grooms. So, Better's Hope, he was castrated last week. Looks good, though, on the track. I was very happy with what I saw from him. Again, a lot of these horses, I wanted to show you them, but a lot of them weren't ready to really rock. They'll be ready to rock on the 15th, but they weren't ready to rock yesterday. I was a little concerned with some of the ones that we put in the sets, but I wanted to get you guys, let you guys have a look at them. Blue Monk. I couldn't move this guy yesterday out into a set. He just is too green. Like Beef and Cheddar's got 3 weeks on him. Blue Monk is the brother to... Blue Monk is the up-the-credit brother to Trafalgar. Big, strong colt. Loves his work. He's happy on the track. Still a little green, so we got to work on him this week. Braemar looked fantastic. The only concern I have with Braemar is when are we going to take those OCDs out? We can take them out Thursday. Then he's not going to be in the open house sets. So I'm going to talk to the surgeon. You know what? I know her good enough. I'm going to text her today. I'm going to text her and ask her, is it better to put this horse on the 16th and move another horse into the 5th or no horse into the 5th, considering as of right now we have 3 more horses going to get vet checked this week, but I don't suspect any of them have OCDs. It's a good question. Let me see. I'll have an answer for all of that tomorrow if you're that concerned. Braemar will either get his OCDs out in the 5th and not be a member of the open house on the track, or he'll get it done on the 16th and will be on the track on the 15th. One or the other. Brilliant Corners was very good yesterday. This is a horse with very, very green. I know a lot of people look at it and say, he wasn't that sparkling. He's very green and knows very, very little and has a lot less work than a lot of these horses. So the fact that he was on the track doing his work 4 days after being castrated, pretty big deal. So I was very impressed with Brilliant Corners. Broadway Roll, that filly continues to look good. No boots, no poles, no problem at all. She can really, really pace. I really like watching her on the track. Cambridge Star was scratched yesterday with a temperature. That's a Cantab Hall colt that we acquired. He's small. He's going to have to show up, and he's going to have to sell himself, and I think he certainly will. He's a good-looking colt. Can't Deny My Spirit. I suspect he'll be sold by tomorrow, completely out. And I'm surprised it took this long, but whatever, to each his own. Can't Deny My Spirit is one good-looking horse on the track. Can't Muscle Me looked great. Now take a look at Can't Muscle Me. Factor in the fact that she didn't move for 5 days. I wanted people to see how good she looked because I've seen it. I wanted to have everybody to have a good look at Can't Muscle Me and how talented she is. And I think everybody got a good look at her yesterday. What a good-looking filly this filly is. This is for those of you out there wondering about pedigrees, this is a muscle mass filly that we bought in Lexington out of a sister to Market Share. Market Share. He only made $3.5 million, was a world champion. This is a foal out of a sister to Market Share, and she is one good-looking filly. Another horse with ties to, well, I guess he doesn't have ties to the stable, but Captain's Maid. This is the Captain Treacherous sister to Sunshine and Shade. And for those of you who like Sunshine and Shade, for those of you who like Captain Treacherous, you're kind of missing the boat. Looks like you have time. We've only sold 20-some shares of her, but as I said in the thing, let me set the table. The only reason we even got this filly for $25,000 was, one, she's a little small, but most importantly, she has a hernia. We had the hernia fixed. It's gone. Now it's just a filly. Now she's just a filly with lots of talent. And yesterday was the first day I cut her loose in her entire life. And man, oh man, did she look good. She's a beautiful filly, well-bred, good-looking filly. And the well-bred part doesn't come from she's a brother to Sunshine and Shade. In the bigger scheme of things, Sunshine and Shade is a non-factor in this family. But when you look at the rest of the family, you'll see what I'm talking about. This is also a sister to Shades of Bay Shades of Bay that went in 49, probably made $300,000-$400,000. And in the second dam, you have Artificial, the sire Artificial's there. And in the third dam, there's some power in there also. I can't remember who. But needless to say, Captain's Maid is one of the best bred horses in the barn. She's a good-looking filly. And for a filly that really only learned how to pace 5 days ago, she looked pretty good yesterday. Carry a Big Stick. Gonna do a little work with Carry a Big Stick. You see him made a couple of breaks yesterday. That's just him being green and stupid. We'll get to the bottom of that this week. I'll be working with him all week. As I said, I wanted to do the drone because I want to get a look at who I need to go with for the next 2 weeks. And I got a pretty good idea right now. Carry a Big Stick is on that list. No issues with him. Just need to polish him up. This is a horse that's been here a little bit longer than these other horses. Shouldn't see that immaturity in this horse, so I'll be going with him for the next 2 weeks. Cut the Line. Mario's been raving about her. This is the sister to Brush Cut, and she looked some kind of good yesterday. He said she can fly, and by all accounts, she actually can. Cut the Line looked really, really good yesterday. Desperado did his work. As I said, kind of flies under the radar, right? He reminds me of a Sunshine's Finest. Same type of long, loafy gait to him. Kind of hides in the pack where you say, who's that? You know, you always ask, I always used to ask people, who's that? When they were going with Sunshine and Shade. He never really came to the top of my mind until he was, Sunshine's Finest. Until he was Sunshine's Finest. But this is a horse I imagine will fly under the radar all spring long, all winter long, but he is one good-looking pacer on the track. Eternity Road, as I said, a little preface for those of you out there, there's barely any shares left. They'll all be gone by tomorrow or the next day. James bought 10 shares of Eternity Road, and James never buys shares and never told me he was doing it, just went on and did it, went on the site and did it. So Eternity Road, obviously, James thinks very, very highly of, and he looked very, very good. We castrated this colt. This was a colt that was scared of everything, and yesterday, I didn't see any of that. He followed. Horse went by him. He never spooked. He went by a horse. Never spooked. It's hard to believe that his testicles were attached to his brain that closely, but different horse. And man, oh man, he looked some kind of good yesterday. First Glance did his work well. Still a little greenness. You can see with that guy, his hobbles are a little bit long, but still looked very, very good from what I saw. Fox Valley Britska. He was a little pinchy in his knees this week and ended up spiking a temperature. So we just said, you know what, weekend off. He's probably going to have an easy time of it between now and the open house. Let those knees cool down. I worked them real hard 3 days ago, and sometimes their knees bother them a little bit as they get that real hard workout right away, but that's a good thing to note. Now, I know what we have to focus on. We're going to change his footwear over to help him with his knees. We're going to work on those knees and make sure we keep an eye on them. All of these horses are going to have certain boiling points at certain times with certain issues. Some horses have popped curbs. That comes with the territory. Their feet can get sore in the wintertime. and their knees can start to bother them. Most importantly is to know where that boiling point is. We know that with Fox Valley Britska. There's no issues now. Back off a little bit, work on his knees. He'll be ready to go for the open house. Gray is the new red. Looked good yesterday. Disco only made one move with her, but man, oh man, when he moves her, she can really dance. Really good looking filly there. GW Chrome. His only issue is a little spooky. We're gonna have to really plug those ears up. I'd say cotton and an earplug and ear hood to really keep him quiet. He gets a little skittish around other horses, so it's just a matter of, it reminds me of when White Tiger was too. He would go around other horses, but he always wanted to attack, and when horses went to go by him, he'd get angry, get a little wound up, and that's what GW Chrome does. We got to keep him contained. The only way to fix that is just repetition. Every single day, in a group setting, on the track, and that will be what will happen with him over the next 2 weeks, and for that matter, over the next 7 months. Girls with Swirls was very good. Danny told me how good she was, but man, oh man, I didn't know she was that good. She looked some kind of good yesterday. I got these names screwed up a little bit in the order, obviously, but Girls with Swirls looked fantastic yesterday. Holy Chick looked good. As I said, two of the cheaper horses we purchased, price-wise, are two of the best looking horses on the track right now, and Holy Chick is one of them. She does everything perfect. No boots, no nothing. Probably start putting some polos on her, but man, oh man, she looks good. Eglaire AM didn't quite look. I had somebody call me today and said, I was going to buy shares in Eglaire AM, but she made a bunch of breaks and stuff. I said, she got a little curb left hind. Don't worry about that. He said, realistically, how much does a curb bother you? Just to put it in perspective, about 6 weeks ago, we crowd a curb on Oso Pine. He went in 54 and 1 last night. Curbs, depending on how big they are, how much they bother the horse, if the horse is a predisposition, so what you call cow-hawked, if a horse would put any undue pressure on those hocks, it may be a problem. Now, if a horse pops a curb, out of the blue, the horse could have slipped, it could have been a little aggravated, regardless of what it is, but that predisposition is not there, so you don't really think that added pressure would be on that curb. It wouldn't be a problem, and I don't see any issues with the Eglaire AM. So she popped a curb. We'll cryo it. Certainly no concerns for me. Definitely moving forward. This is a very, very talented filly, and I tell everybody, I try not to lead anybody astray, and I try not to over-dramatize how I like or issues I have with horses, because people read into that. I get that now. Some of you out there read into these things, but at the same time, trust me when I tell you, Eglaire AM, one of the nicer fillies we have in the training center. I know I've mentioned some that I think are head and shoulders above, some that I think are, as I said, War We Welcome. We'll talk about her, I'm sure, throughout the whole winter. This is a filly I think is one of the best fillies I've had personally in a very long time. Eglaire AM is right up there with anybody we've ever had. Beautiful filly, does her work very well. I'm a Lovely Lady does her work very well. A little small, still doesn't bother me at all. She really, and considering at least 50% of her stakes will be in a half-mile track in Ohio, I think she's perfectly placed, both size-wise, attitude-wise, and work ethic-wise. Really nice filly, and I'm a Lovely Lady. I'm Hill on Wheels was a scratch yesterday, 102.2, 102.3 temperature. We couldn't go with him. He has his issues, but none of them seem to be bothering him right now. He trots absolutely perfectly on the track. Very impressed with what I've seen from I'm Hill on Wheels. Italian Grit, you're going to hear this name. This is a new horse. He never made it into the sets yesterday. Very green Guccio colt that was sent to us from Ohio. He's pretty well bred, and he has got a really nice gait on him. You guys are going to like what you see on the 15th with this guy. His name's Italian Grit. Then we have Keystone Raven. She was good yesterday. A little cranky on the track sometimes. We're going to have to work on her attitude throughout the winter. But when she's pacing, man, can she ever pace. She looked good yesterday. Jesse Balboa. Maybe I shouldn't have put him in a set yesterday. He was just green. This whole setting thing was new to him. We're going to work on him and have him polished up best we can for the 15th. But he is really, really new to the racetrack. So we'll give old Jesse a pass on yesterday's performance. What about the biggest improvement so far this year? Let's Roll On. You guys kept asking me, what's wrong with Let's Roll On? What's wrong with him? Nothing is wrong with him. The horse is learning. He's a giant horse learning how to trot. And I know that's frustrating for people to think, and analytical people out there saying, well, he should be able to do anything. Well, the truth be known, you're wrong. He'll let us know when he's ready to do stuff. Mathematically, looking at his physique, I don't see any issues with him at all. I think this horse will learn how to trot just fine. But he's got a big rump on him, a big set of stifles, and a lot of muscle to pack in there. So it takes a lot of time. As I said, we had a horse, somebody had made reference to a horse we had, I forgot his name, Cash In On Me. Nice horse, well-bred, but mathematically speaking, he was compact, and he couldn't get away from himself. We just ran out of time with him. He had to put more muscle on, more strength on, more girth on, and he couldn't. And I think you'll probably find him race someday. Probably went to the Amish, and he'll probably race someday when he puts a lot more muscle on. But for now, He's not in comparison to this horse, and the fact that Let's Roll On's a lot longer, he's built well, and his issue isn't interfering with his legs, it's forging, and that again that is when the back foot comes up and hits the front, the bottom of the shoe as he's coming back, and that's fixable, usually with shoeing, and as I said, experience and work. And this horse yesterday, we found a pretty good shoeing combination with him, and he looked really, really good yesterday. Miss Meringue, got to tinker with her a little bit. Another big filly, just needs to do her work right. You guys are going to have lots of weeks and months where you say, geez, maybe she's just not good enough, or maybe he's not good enough. And there'll be lots of horses you talk about. This is a process, and you guys get to see it firsthand. And I've told everybody last year when everybody was, oh, I don't think that, perfect example, I don't think that Globetrotting's as good as you think, and she's too green, she makes mistakes, she runs all over the track all winter. Oh, Spirit of Dio, I told you all winter. Leave the horses alone. They'll learn to do it. Just their attitude is what I'm looking at. Are they eager to continue to work? And Spirit of Dio was always eager to do more, and you saw that on the racetrack, and it is the exact same thing with these horses. Their attitude and their work ethic leads to success. And when I see horses like Miss Meringue that want to do their work, or Let's Roll On, and there's really no reason they can't, it just takes time. They're big horses, they got to pack that muscle on. Mama Knows Best, she can certainly pack lots on. Wow, she packs a punch. She's got a lot of pop to her, this filly, and trots symmetrically perfect on the track. For a filly we didn't give a lot of money for, man, she is really, really impressive. Momo, I was very happy to go with Momo yesterday. You saw at the end of the mile, she was really pacing for a young horse, first time training, and she made a little speed break down by the wire. Her hobbles were a bit long, but that's all right. I'm going to leave them right where they're at. She loves to do her work now. I was concerned when we first bought her. She seemed a little moody and cranky, but now that she's starting to lose some of that baby fat and put a little bit of muscle on a little bit at a time, she really, really likes her work, and she loves to race with other horses, and she looked some kind of good yesterday. A couple of big moves from her yesterday in her session. My Jazz continues to look good, does everything right, works really well. No free lunch. You guys got to cut this guy some slack. He was castrated last week and has virtually no experience on the track, and he looked really, really good. Really impressed with what I've seen from No Free Lunch. Northern Blizzard, a little disappointing yesterday. I can't tell you how disappointed I was because I went with him on Friday. I thought that horse was sitting on a big mile, a mile probably better than the horses he was in with and that's set to go with. I didn't think they'd be able to handle him and contain him yesterday. He looked dreadful. And that's, I think, just greenness. He went out there and he was running in. We changed his gear a little bit, and I think Todd just didn't keep him to task. And I'll go with him for the next 2 weeks, and I can assure you he won't look like that on December 15th. Rito Sunshine, again, I think he was sick all week, and Danny cautioned Mario about going too much with him, and I told them, when they're on the track, they're in a set. It's not like they're flying around. These horses can do some work. Do not take my horses to the back and go around with them, finish up 5 lengths behind and say, yeah, he was pretty good. No, he wasn't. In fact, he was okay. You were poor. And I don't want to see any more of that, and I've told them that. I need people to make sure I want the horses moving. If they're in a set, there has to be a reason why I haven't seen them. Any horses I go with, I always make sure I move them. They probably see the front end or first over. They make breaks. I try to get them back up into it. This getting to the back and sitting there the whole way, it's just not going to cut it. And I'm not angry about it. We got a long year to work out all these kinks, but at the same time, a horse like Rito Sunshine's a nice-looking horse. He should have been in the mix yesterday. Round Midnight's a horse, you guys don't know that name, but that is a brother by Big Jim to Capistrano. He is in our stable now. He has the hobbles on. He's working, but very green, and he certainly wasn't ready to go yesterday. You'll see him on the 15th. Perfect Record was coming off the virus, but Todd did put him up in the mix a couple of times. I've always been really impressed with this colt. Just a good-looking colt with a great attitude, and Perfect Record certainly didn't disappoint yesterday. Horse that did disappoint a little bit, Rose Run Wanda. She was coming off a big curb that we had crowd, so it's probably bothering a little bit. She was just shod the day before. She might have been a little sick this week. I'm giving you a lot of excuses, but at the end of the day, I just didn't like what I saw from her, and that's rare because I've seen her on the track and she's looked rather impressive multiple times when that curb was hurting her. Now it's not, seemingly, and she just had a flat day. So we'll pitch that day out. I'll look for more for her, much more from her in the coming weeks. Rose Run Why Not? Wasn't really her fault yesterday. They had the Murphy blind on the wrong side. I saw it when I come on the track, but I left it as is. I said, she'll be okay. And we left it alone, and she wasn't okay. She really struggled in the turns. This is a filly we're really going to be working with over the next 2 weeks to get her squared away. But overall, I still saw a little bit of glimmer of hope and talent there. Very, very happy in that regard. I went with her the day before. I thought she was very good. Just got to work with her. We're going to continue to do that. Royal Tyrone, another horse, was very green. Maybe not ready to go in the sets, but on the 15th he will be also. It's another horse I'm going to start working with on Monday to make sure you guys get a real good look at what Royal Tyrone's all about on the 15th. This is a good-looking colt by Royalty for Life, and I'm really eager to start working with him come a Monday morning. Roy Hill looked good. A couple of moves in him. I want to see him continue to be up in the action. This is a horse that's big and strong. We castrated him. I want him every week in the hunt, on the move, and working every week. And I'll speak to Danny and the guys down there about that. Maybe I'll start going with him, or James, start of the new year. I think it's very important that we keep this horse very interested in his work. He seems like he's a bit of a scatterbrain where, if you get him, if he drips back out of the field, it takes a couple of seconds to get him going. And in doing that, you might really, I don't want to get him cranky when it comes to the whip. I want him in the mix and wanting to attack, and you can't do that from last all the time. So Roy Hill, just a matter of changing the way we maintain him on the racetrack. Set the Mood was good yesterday. He was coming off of castration. Jason said he was a little too quiet with the ear hood on, which I was surprised with because he can get a little rammy. So those hoods are fabric with a piece of plastic, rubber, that goes right over their ears. I think we'll just take the rubber off and just leave the fabric over his ears for when he trains on the 15th. We'll see how he looks over the next couple of weeks. So Admirable. Keep your eye on this filly. Remember what I told you. So Admirable is a very, very nice filly. We have to maintain her health. She's got a lot of, I would just say, allergies. And there are some allergies still this time of year, whether it be dust or hay or whatever it is. A couple of horses in the barn, you still see that. A lot of sickness, snot in their nose, and they're trying to clear it out. We're going to put her on some decongestants and some herbal stuff to see if we can continue to clean her up. But this is a filly with a big, big engine in her. Sunshine in May, she's got a big engine in her, but she's a little tiny horse. So we'll see how she comes. She's doing everything perfectly now. So I'm really eager to see what she's going to look like throughout the winter and the spring. I hope that we don't reach her boiling point until she wakes a winter circle, but we'll see how Sunshine in May turns out. Surreal Love, another horse we castrated last week. He looked good on the track this week. I'm really, really happy with what I see from him. This colt, I'm really going to keep a close eye on him over the next 15 days. I don't think I necessarily need to go with him. I've seen enough from him, but I really want to keep a close eye on him. Sweet Ambitions has really turned it around. When we got her, she was very ignorant, very hard to work with, real troublemaker out in the track, but now she's come around. She's perfect on the track, really enjoys her work, and that's a good thing because she's well-bred and she's got a beautiful gait to her. Tanzanite Tricks looked good yesterday. 2 or 3 moves in the mile. Jason was really happy with her. That's my girl. Maybe I shouldn't have had her in a set either. She only had the harness on a week. She made a couple of really green breaks with horses around her, but that's really the first time she's seen a set. So another horse we're going to start polishing up over the next 2 weeks. The Fat Cobra looked great. I thought he looked fantastic for Mario yesterday. Really, really happy with what we've seen from this guy. This guy's already floor scope clean. He's already been gelded. He's hung up properly now. I'm really excited to see how this colt's going to look on the 15th especially, and then throughout the winter and spring. Fat Cobra, very happy with him. Tipsy and Dixie was sick yesterday and couldn't go. She'll be ready to go. She's beautiful filly. Her only fault, she can kick sometimes, but the good thing is she's small and really can't reach anybody. So she just torture the mud aprons. That's about it. But beautiful filly, got a great gait. She can really dance. Danny likes her a lot. So she did not go on Saturday. Try to Tease Me went. She looked really, really good. Danny is really in love with this filly, likes her a lot, and there's been a lot to like about her. Very, very impressive looking filly. Walk on the Moon looked great. 2 moves in him. Much like So Admirable, we got to get him on something also. He's always got a discharge. We can clean that up. Warwe was up, didn't get to go. He was still dealing with some complications from his castration only a week ago, so he'll be ready to go next week. Also, Warwe Welcome. I can't say enough about this filly. I really think we're going to be doing a lot of talking about Warwe Welcome over the next 7 months, and with good reason. Just a very, very nice filly. And then Well and Down look good again. You can see she's a bit of a goofball out in the track. There's no shortage of speed, and she never gets tired. So those are 2 good qualities. We just have to continue to chip away at that rigid exterior, if you will, from our girl Well and Down. Now, crap! I didn't put in the Harrisburg horses. My apologies. We do have 7 horses here that we got to go through. So Lincoln Hanover, this horse will be castrated this week. Lincoln Hanover, little cranky, but his beautiful gait. I think castrating him's a proper thing to do, and he looks really good on the track. Now, keep in mind, I'm going to tell you something right now. I told you about another horse earlier. I'm going to tell you about one more. Off-Road Hanover. James couldn't say enough about him. He was talking about him during and after the mile. He was very enthused with what he'd seen. He'd never seen Off-Road Hanover before, didn't know who he was. He's on the other side of the barn. And James went with him yesterday, and he said, who is Off-Road Hanover? This is a very, very nice colt with a beautiful gait. Remember, I told you, I don't want anybody saying, why didn't anybody say anything? Sure, you can tell the horses that are very, very talented. If you look back 2 years ago, I talked about Lawmaker and Cruising in Style in January. I talked about White Tiger and a number of other horses in December and January of their yearling and 2-year-old year. And I will tell you, War We Welcome, Off-Road Hanover. There's one other horse I did want to mention. Who was it? Can't Deny My Spirit. There's 3 that come to mind right away. Eternity Road. 4 that come to mind right away. There's a lot of horses in here, and I won't talk about Aglariam because she made a break yesterday, but make no mistake, she will be on that list. So you're looking at 4 or 5 right now that I think are extremely talented horses. Make no mistake, I warned you, I told you, Off-Road Hanover, very nice horse. Stacy Hanover, 6. There's a filly that I'm almost positive will come forward. As she gets stronger, she is going to grow in her confidence and her speed. She is one good-looking filly. I really like her. Won My Heart Hanover. I've always been very enthusiastic. I won't put her on that list yet, but as I said, a number of these horses are heading in that direction, and Won My Heart Hanover is one good-looking filly. Still, those breaks yesterday, I think, can be mitigated. One, we're going to go to the vet, make sure there's no issues in that left hind, which I don't think there is. I think it's just her interfering a little bit. We can change that with a little shoeing change up front, a little one behind, and I think she'll be fine. But step 1, get her to the vet, make sure there's nothing there, which I don't think there is. Saurus Blue Chip, we're going to castrate him. He's just a complete, he's like a Clydesdale stud stuffed into a little horse's body. He's always squealing and roaring and being a goof, but make no mistake, he's got a beautiful gait. And I said one of the other horses, one of the best bred horses. This guy is also one of the best bred horses on the property. Just a really, really nice horse. You will be forced to buy shares of Saurus Blue Chip throughout the winter and spring as you get a good look at him. I'm almost certain of that. Jazzy Judy, nobody's seen much of Judy yet. This is the filly that's Delaware bred. She's a little goofy, a little stupid sometimes, but she's learning. She certainly wasn't ready for the sets yesterday in the drone, but by the 15th, we should be able to see something from Jazzy Judy. And then we have our girl, Frilly Fringes. I really, really like Frilly Fringes. You can see the first break, Argento went by me yesterday and she didn't know what to do in the set. The horse spooked her when he went by and she made a break. And then down the lane, she made a break, just trying to catch up. She got frustrated. She was going as fast as she could, but she couldn't quite catch up to them yet. She will, don't kid yourself. This is one big, beautiful filly. And I was thoroughly, thoroughly impressed with my girl, Frilly Fringes. Anyway, that's all the babies. I'm going to run through, should I run through the 2-year-olds? I guess I'll run through the 2-year-olds really, really quick for you guys, just to let you know who's coming back. Most of them will be back in the next couple of weeks, and then the rest will be returning by January 1st. I'll get to that in just a second. I'll be back in just a second with a quick update of the 2-year-olds.